So this is a defense presentation for my client's workout plans. First to present would be the cardiovascular conditioning prescription. As we can see, my client's name is Arnold Nico E. Valladares, aged 20 years old. In this table, we have the column components and target. In the components column, there's frequency, intensity, resting heart rate reserve, target heart rate at high interval, heart rate at low interval, Borg rate of perceived exertion, the duration of the exercises, which includes the warm up, the stimulus, the cool down, and the number of cycles. And lastly, the type of cardiovascular exercise, which is, yeah. So in the second column, the target will showcase our goals or the target to each component. So the frequency of this exercise would be once a week since the client's cardiovascular condition, basing from his step test, the interpretation is average, indicating less of cardiovascular conditioning exercise. The intensity would be moderate, assuming his condition and my client's approval over our discussion. About the client's heart rate, his resting heart rate is 78 beats per minute. His heart rate reserve is 64%. This is based from my chosen intensity for this exercise. His target heart rate would be 156 beats per minute. We can get this by subtracting this constant to 20 with your age. In his case, he is 20 years old, and subtract again with 78 his RHR. Then multiply the answer with 0.64, the decimal form of 64% from his HRR, and lastly add with 78 again. So we got 156. 6. This number would also be his target heart rate at high interval. To get the heart rate at low interval, you just repeat the formula in getting the THR, but make the heart rate reserve half its number. So we have 220 minus 20 minus 78 times 0.32, half of 0.64, then plus 78. So we have 117 beats per minute for his heart rate at low interval. For the Borg rate of perceived exertion, you just choose a number between 0 to 10. This will indicate the rate of exertion or how hard or easy the exercise is. And in his case, it's 5 or hard. He may got an average interpretation from his step test, but jogging for 20 minutes is not as easy as it sounds. Okay, so now that I've mentioned duration, his warm-up will be 5 minutes at low interval, usual duration. His stimulus, the duration of the jog is 20 minutes. I have discussed the duration with my client and he agreed with my proposed 20 minutes. 20 minutes is enough to give him progress but in a shorter time range. For the cool down, I've given him 3 minutes at low interval, a usual cool down duration. And since this is a continuous moderate intensity exercise, it will only have one cycle. And lastly, as I've previously mentioned, the cardiovascular conditioning exercise I've chosen is jogging. It is convenient, no needed gears, just legs and determination. Here below, Ari, this showcases the illustration of his jog. 5 minute warm up at low interval, again 20 minutes jog, and the 3 minutes cool down at low interval. This is the target heart rate, 156 BPM, and the half of his heart rate reserve, 32%. So let's proceed with the muscular resistance training prescription. I had a discussion with my client regarding with this. He said he wanted to increase his abdominal strength for reasons of protection in this area, the abdomen, and of course strengthen core. The volume, so it is already indicated out encoded here. So the volume or intensity of this prescription would still be moderate, and it will be done 2 times a week with a duration of 65 minutes, including the warm up and cool down. I did not go with intense volume since my client would struggle with my given exercises. In line with his goal, of course. We should not startle his body with immediate intense workout. Intensity should gradually increase along with how his body would cope up. So for the warm up, we have jumping left and right with 20 repetitions, one set for 1 minute. Should start, okay, this warm up should start waking up his legs and feet. Next would be the side stretches for 1 minute and one set. This warm up releases tension from the muscles attached to the ribs and also will help stretch and strengthen the intercostal muscles. So reverse shoulder stretch. This would be for 1 minute, one set. As I've examined my client in the postural assessment, I've noticed his slight protected shoulder. So this warm up should will help his posture become a little bit better. Last is the bird dog. This would be for 1 minute, one set. This warm up allows for correct movement, control, and stability of the whole body. A preparation for his actual exercises. Okay, so let's know what this load and RPE are. So kaning load refers to the intensive, no, this load refers to the intensity of the exercise, while RPE or the rate of perceived exertion is the rate at which how difficult or easy the exercise is for this particular person. So it's like a rating kung unsa ka hago or kasayuning usa ka exercise. So 10 as very very hard and 0 as at rest. Okay, so let's discuss the exercises I've prescribed to my client. I've prescribed, rather, sorry, to my client. So for his first exercise, the standard crunches, the popular exercise to get six-pack abs. This exercise helps build muscle in the abdomen and also for strengthening the core. He'll do 12 repetitions, 4 sets, with a minute rest, and his load would be the load of this exercise would be 80%, and the work rate is 6. Russian twist. This is a simple abdominal exercise which works the core, shoulders, and hips. This will be done with 16 repetitions with 4 sets and with a minute rest. Load would be 80% and it would be a 6 in the board rate. Next is the leg raises. So this exercise is a strength training exercise that targets muscle groups throughout the body. It is also often used to strengthen the rectus abdominis muscle and the internal and external oblique muscles because it uses the abdominal muscles to stabilize the body during the motion, during the execution of this exercise. So it will be a 12 repetition with 4 sets and with a minute rest. A load of 80% and a board rate of, I know, the load would be 83% and a board rate of 8. Sunod kay the double crunch. This exercise is an exercise, abdominal exercise that combines the standard abdominal crunch with a reverse crunch. By doing so, it will strengthen the overall core musculature. It will be done for 10 repetitions, 4 sets with a minute rest, a load of 85%, and a board rate of 9. So this exercise will be the hardest. Lisod ni siya. Sayon lang taon per lisod buhaton. Last exercise would be the high knee run. This is a cardio-intensive exercise. It engages the core, strengthens all muscles in the legs, improves momentum, coordination, and flexibility. It will be done for 40 repetitions with 2 sets and with a minute rest. A load of 68%, 1 RM, and a rate of 4. As observed, no, kanini nga exercises work up the abdominal muscles and the core, fit for what the client intends to achieve for his physical fitness. Ato yung goal, laro, increased abdominal strength. So for his cool down naman, sa cool down, it includes sphinx abdominal strength stretch, cobra abdominal stretch, and extended cat, all for 1 minute, 1 set each. And all these cool down stretches, the purpose of releasing tension right after the hug exercise. So that is all for this presentation. Thank you.